Alright everyone, thought I would give you a small update. I know it's been a little bit since we finished the major service on the Jag, just replacing the hoses, doing some of the deeper service items. Wish I came with better news, but I had a small discovery that I guess kind of then turned into a bigger one and a bigger one. So when we were in there, we discovered that the bypass valve was basically left as far open as it could be. It is an adjustable component. The previous owner basically had it all the way open. For me, this was probably one of the more powerful cars I'd ever bought. So, hey, it was plenty fast when I bought it. Everything was great. I guess, so I closed that bypass valve. Obviously, I put the pulley on the Jag. Whole different car. I mean, the power gain was amazing. Truly a worthwhile upgrade by a long shot. The problem I discovered was, after I started doing that, I noticed that I basically had an issue where it would purge coolant out of the surge tank. Basically, it has a secondary tank that's like a catch tank. If there's overpressure in the system, it will purge coolant into that tank, but it's also then able to reclaim coolant from that tank. Now, mine is purging coolant really fast, and so much so that it blows it out of the overflow hole in the surge tank. So basically, if I get this thing up in boost, it just spits coolant out, like in a big way. And if I drive it outside of boost, perfectly fine, no issues, drives like a normal car, whatever. So I did some digging, and I started doing the logical thing and started checking through the cooling system, seeing if there were potential blockages, what could be going wrong. Just trying to, start with the easiest, most affordable fixes first. And the unfortunate conclusion is, it looks like under boost, I am lifting the cylinder head on the car, and essentially the combustion gases are pushing past the head gasket into the cooling system, creating high pressure and literally blowing coolant out of the surge tank. I wish it wasn't that, but I've run out of other stuff that it could possibly be, and trust me, I checked exhaustively. So, even though it's frustrating that I just did a massive overhaul, all the new hoses, everything like that, only to discover that, this is the issue. This was a thing with buying this car, right? It was probably one of the cheapest XJRs out there, especially with this level of mileage on it. I mean, again, I broke it into 70,000 miles when I was driving it, so it was less than 70 when I bought it. And, especially for this color combination, things like that, it was an extremely good price. And I knew that the previous owner had replaced the cylinder head. The owner before him basically had overheated the car. He had said they basically had warped the cylinder head. He took a brand new cylinder, not brand new, but a cylinder head off of a low miles car, replaced the gaskets, replaced the water pump, replaced the timing, everything. I say everything, the chains, tensioners, guides. And that was one of the things that excited me about it, because he seemed to be a pretty competent mechanic. And to me, those were service items that I was worried about with the X308, things that I might need to do. So that being said, I was optimistic. I saw his workshop when I went and picked the car up in Indiana. He had, a pretty comprehensive set of tools, big workspace, and I was like, what, this is probably good. Drove the car, it behaved fine. So I felt pretty good about the whole thing. My guess is that after digging a little deeper, seeing how he did some of the things, I presume that he reused the head bolts, which I understand is okay-ish. But obviously I've just cranked the boost way up. It's experiencing a lot tougher life. So I think what happened was, he put it all back together. Obviously it's a ton of work, and found this problem, and basically ran into, the situation of either having to redo it, or, the easy fix, which was open the bypass valve, cutting the boost. And I think that alleviated the issue when it was running the stock pulley. Now that I've got the smaller pulley on there, I have tried opening the bypass valve all the way, and it still makes probably factory levels of boost even with that open, and it's lifting the cylinder head. So at the end of the day, this is the reality of customizing cars, buying used cars as well. It's, like I said, frustrating, but in the end, I do love this car, and it's well worth it. So at this point, I am, driving the car as infrequently and delicately as I can. I am taking the atomic bell around more often as my runabout, just to minimize the miles that I put on it, because who knows how long it would be until this progresses. I don't want to blow a head gasket and then run into a much more serious issue. So next steps, we're doing round 2. Just as thorough as I was with all the hoses and everything like that, I am going to be buying a comprehensive gasket set. Unfortunately, some of the gaskets in that set are ones that I already bought individually for the project I already did, but hey. I am, at that point, going to be trying to find a better workspace than my driveway. As you can see, it's raining right now. We had a nice severe storm warning here in Florida today, and I really just don't want to be in the same situation I was in when I did the cylinder head on my Crown Vic, which that one was completely my fault. Definitely over-revved the engine and mashed the valves on that one. No one to blame but myself. But I experienced doing a cylinder head. Honestly, straightforward. Just follow the procedure carefully. Make sure you're logical and methodical and clean. The problem I ran into was just I'm doing it on my driveway and on a relatively main road. And I can't leave my tools out. It's hot, direct sun, no cover, and the amount of time it was just bringing my tools out, getting set up, and then putting them all away, breaking everything down. It was just extremely inefficient. So this time around, I'm looking for a workspace that I can rent for the time being, put the car in, and when I'm done, walk away for the day, leave everything where it's at, come back, roll the door up, keep going. I'm going to be sourcing all the parts over the next, hopefully, month here. And then basically just hopefully can do a thorough, complete cylinder head removal, check everything, inspect everything, see if the cylinder heads need machined, see if maybe this other head that he put on might be slightly warped. Maybe that's where the issue's at. Make sure I'm using MLS gaskets, which I believe the XJRs came with those from the factory. I know the ones I'm purchasing will be. And then in the end, basically make sure that I just put it back together perfectly. Check all my torques on the cylinder head bolts, use brand new bolts. I would have liked to have done head studs, but frankly, it just doesn't seem like they make them. I think someone at some point made a short run of head studs for this model. Those are obviously long since gone. I found one reference to someone who had gotten a custom quote on them, and it was something ridiculous, like $2,000. I'm not spending that for head studs when, frankly, in my mind, if you torque head bolts correctly and they're brand new and you're very careful with it, it has to be so close, to the accuracy of the torque that you can get from the studs. And the nice thing is, I don't have to pull the whole freaking engine out of the car to do it. Whereas with studs on this engine in this car, you would have to remove the motor to pull the cylinder heads, because the angle that you have to slide them up over the studs off of, it would hit the the shock towers. So because I'm going to be putting it back together so correctly, and because I'm pretty sure that I am clinically insane, I figured this might be a good time to move to the next phase, albeit earlier than I expected, of the project. So as you know, I put the upper pulley on the car, which increased the boost from, I believe, 12.5 pounds to roughly 15 pounds. The same company, Powerhouse UK, who are amazing, make basically the next round of that, which is a larger lower pulley. They also do 2 sizes of that, as well as a much larger intercooler radiator, the one that goes behind the grill up front. It's about twice the thickness, way more efficient unit. Talking with them, from what I understand, and I will verify this, the addition of the larger intercooler rad and the bigger pump that I already have on it, the higher flowing Bosch pump, which I made a whole video about. If you haven't seen it, you can click the link in the description, which my brother James will conveniently put in this video for you. Really, that's all you need. The cooling system should be able to handle the additional heat generated. And if I understand correctly, the combination of the 2 of these, and I will check and see once we do this whole thing, I'll correct myself if I'm slightly off, but it should be pushing close to around 20 pounds of boost, which is a huge jump from the factory number. I kind of knew I wanted to do that when I bought the car. I didn't expect to be doing it so quickly, so I'll be doing my best to source things as cost effectively as possible, and and make sure I do everything as right as possible so I don't have to do it again for the 3rd time. But my intent is basically to get the lower pulley, the larger intercooler radiator. Mini gallery makes a nice intake tube / cold air intake setup. I'll probably be purchasing that. Just help the thing breathe, because I mean the supercharger is going to be spinning so much faster that I'm certain it will need the extra airflow. And then that's probably it for performance parts on this one. Round 3 would probably be exhaust work. I don't want to go crazy loud, and that's what throws a challenge in for me, because doing headers might be a bit tricky, but would at least yield some good power. But then I'm dealing with cats and mufflers and all that stuff, and I need to find a good combination that doesn't, you know, make this thing obnoxiously loud, but still breathes really well. You know, in the grand scheme of things, an engine is a giant air pump, and the better you can flow air in and the better you can flow air out, the more power you make. So, but that being said, I am excited to see what this thing does. My only regret is that I would have liked to have put it on a dyno now, with the upper pulley on there, with the bypass valve closed. My concern is, while I could go do that, I genuinely am worried that doing a full RPM sweep pull in full boost with the bypass valve closed, there's a real risk that it would purge so much coolant that it could actually notably overheat the engine. And frankly, just for a before number, it's not worth me risking blowing the motor. So unfortunately, we're just gonna have to go off of speculation. But based off of Powerhouse's numbers, you know, they basically say it's a 10% increase in power. Factory power is 370 horsepower, 390 feet-pound of torque. So that should put us over 400 horsepower and into the, like, what is it, 420 foot-pound of torque, something like that. I'm sure you guys will correct me in the comments if you guys have access to a calculator. But that being said, we will work off of those ballparks, minus a little bit for the fact that the car is 20 years old and has 70,000 miles on it. So once this is all done and hopefully behaving flawlessly, I do plan on putting it on a dyno and seeing what a relatively hardcore build on one of these looks like, and maybe this could be worth it for you. So anyway, this is more of just a check-in video. I know a bunch of you have liked the Jag content. We have a lot of XJR and X308 enthusiasts, and just other Jag enthusiasts in general that have been following the channel, which we really appreciate. So I thought you guys might appreciate just a more direct update on what's actually going on. I wish it was better news. I wish I could just be like, oh my god, it's perfect, everything's great, but that is not the reality that I'm facing right now. So that being said, I am going to be trying to scrape some money together to you know, cover the cost on these items, but I think it will be well worth it by the time I do it, and I think doing it all at the same time is the correct choice. So obviously we'll be filming this as we go. We will be releasing videos like we usually do, and also trying to make some you know, continual improvements to the way we're filming videos, the information we're releasing to you guys, and just the quality in general. So we appreciate a lot of the feedback we've gotten. That's helped us grow, and we're hoping that as you continue to follow along, you're going to see better and better videos with cooler and more engaging content as we grow. So anyway, I appreciate you watching this. Literally me sitting here filming on my cell phone in my car, but I just thought this was important to share rather than it just being a random surprise that, oh, he's working on the car again. So thank you to all of our subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, click through a couple of our videos. I think you'll like our content, and you're going to see a lot more coming out very soon. And we would really appreciate it if you subscribed. That really does help us grow the channel, and it just helps us continue doing what we do. We have big plans, but it's going to take some time, and we really have to build that foundation. So every subscriber, every like goes so far for us. So thank you so much, and keep watching. We really appreciate it.